Good evening. Welcome to the December 17th, 2024 Select Board meeting. Call this meeting to order. We'll first scheduled appointment is the police. I don't know if you want John to come up too, or
Sure. Come on up, Chief. Please.
yeah.
It's a little strange sitting here and calling him up.
I know.
Yeah.
I kind of like
It's usually
it.
the other way around, right?
Yeah. Just introduce yourself, John. So
Sure.
they know who
Yeah,
you
I'm
are.
Officer John Cowan. I've been on Northfield PD now 20 years. So I'm actually the senior guy in the department. So I know a lot of times these meetings, the chief comes in a couple times a year and speaks about the stuff that all the officers have done, which is great, and it's quite a title shift for us within our department, and the officers really appreciate it. So when I'm sitting here tonight, I'm actually sitting here representing all the other officers of the department. Sergeant Kobolonsky and got a hold of all the officers a couple weeks ago and put together a letter of recognition for the chief. So if you can just give me a second, bear with me, I'm going to read this. It's addressed to Chief Jonathan Hall. It's a letter of appreciation, and it says, "We, the Northfield Police Department team, wish to formally express our sincere gratitude and recognition for your exemplary leadership, firm commitment to safety and well-being to our community and department. Under your guidance, we have witnessed the significant improvements in morale, operational efficiency, and community relations. Your open door policy and willingness to listen to the concerns of every member of the department have encouraged an environment of trust and collaboration. We deeply appreciate your dedication and ensure that every officer, regardless of rank, feels valued and supported in their role. Your strategic initiatives, such as providing the officers with the opportunity to attend trainings, introducing new community policing strategies, and applying for various grants, have not only strengthened our department, but also positively impact the citizens we serve. These efforts exemplify your forward-thinking vision and the commitment to and continuous improvement of the department. As a leader, you consistently set a standard of professionalism and integrity that inspires us all to perform duties with diligence and pride. Your ability to navigate challenges with calm demeanor and unwavering dedication to justice makes your role a model for every member of this department. On behalf of the Northfield Police Department team, we'd like to express our deepest appreciation for your diligent efforts and your commendable leadership. Please know that we are committed to upholding the values that you embody and contributing to the continued success of our team. Thank you for your service and being an exceptional leader. And it's signed by all the officers. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is a copy.
We have the original in your file.
So Sergeant Kobolonsky wanted to be here again tonight, and he was made aware that he had a family obligation that he wasn't aware of. So he asked me if I would come to do it, and I said it would be my pleasure. So like I said, it's a little role reversal here.
Well, thank you for, and from what I've heard from citizens too, I mean, they feel the same way about the chief too, so.
Yeah, we never really heard the word team, here, and that's all we hear. And it really, very much so.
Especially with the change in policing rules and staffing rules. I mean, it didn't come in at an easy time.
No, I think that's the direction the chief, I don't want to speak for the chief, but that's the direction that he really wanted to move the department towards. And everybody there's a huge buy-in. Everybody's bought into that philosophy and that role. And it's not a department, it's a team. Because it really is a team. So.
And it's right around the anniversary of your hiring, isn't it?
3 years,
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Well, I am humbled and I really appreciate it. I've got some letters of recognition before, but it doesn't usually come in the reverse direction. So, this means a lot to me, so appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
For coming in.
I'm
Thank you for your
thrilled.
time.
Go
Thanks,
home
guys.
and enjoy your families.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around because I think EMS has some stuff involved. Please go.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of pieces. Yep.
Okay, Tom.
You can speak to this, Bernie. I think this came about as an effort between a meeting that we had and Misha. Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, we had a meeting and discussing whether we would, we have a maintenance position right now that's highway department, but it's, you know, supposed to take care of the buildings too. We have more buildings coming up with the EMS building, more work for maintenance, and also Tom Walker expressed the need for a full-time, another full-time position instead of a part-time position. He needs somebody there all the time. You know, he's run short. You know, he gets a guy out and he's in a bind. So, you know.
I could kind of give an update on the meeting that we had when we all met to talk about this. So you've got it before you, kind of a job description with some edits, which was, we had the old one, then we had a new one, so we've re-edited this several times. This goes kind of back to more of the maintenance position, although we're still calling it building and grounds maintenance laborer. So the title may need to change a little bit, but we can talk about that. I meant to change the top portion, and I don't know if Tom wants a copy of it. Misha pointed out that I hadn't caught that it still said it was the highway department, but actually if it went this way, and Tom goes after a highway worker, our proposal is, and Misha feels pretty strongly too, I think, that it would actually be a town hall department back under the town hall line item, and reporting to the town administrator and the building supervisors. So whoever's building they were would be, you know, would also be a manager of this position. In other words, working with them on projects and maintenance and putting in work orders themselves. So everything doesn't have to go through town hall. They can directly communicate with this position. Concerns were more with routine and preventative rather than ongoing. We haven't had any, we don't have any complaints about, you know, if we make a call or we put in a work order, they come and do it. We don't have any complaints with the work that's being done. That's not why that we're having this talk so much. But it's really, this is an idea about doing what's different than what we're doing now. There's also not only just routine work that we're concerned about, there's also projects that take planning and time and really take time from someone's schedule to do that. For example, the women's bathroom project, which has kind of been limping along for a few years. I'm trying to manage that. We've been trying to do some grant work on that. But also there's like the bookshelves in the assessor's office that are collapsing. I'm sure Misha has a list of projects that she could speak to that are above and beyond just the routine maintenance, which is, or an emergency. Something doesn't work, you know, call highway. We've had some issues at town hall just because there hasn't been someone here. We ran out of oil earlier. We ran out of pellets because we hadn't had a delivery since last spring, and the connection to the internet had been disconnected, and we weren't aware that had happened. So it's no fault of anyone. It's just things that are slipping through the cracks more than anything else, because no one's watching when those things happen routinely. I'm sure you've got other things that have happened at the library. They just slip through because no one thinks when you're running the library to know what the status of this is or the status of that is until it doesn't work or until it needs service or something. And there were some maintenance sheets. Misha, I have to credit Misha with creating these maintenance sheets to talk about her building. And honestly, I snagged her thing and changed it for town hall. And it talks about everything, and you get a sense of it. Looking at the sidewalk, looking at the handicap ramp, looking at the curbways. There's certain things that need inspection just once a year or twice a year to make sure that there's nothing that needs to be done as a project. Doing some waxing on the first level floors here, maybe every 3 to 5 years. That should be done. And it's just a maintenance thing. It's a routine maintenance thing. So there's a lot of inspections, checking railings on the stairs, the treads. As you'll notice on the front of the town hall, the treads are coming up. Lots of things like that. And then I attached to the back, as she did, projects. Future projects. Some would happen now, some would happen years from now, but just kind of keeping a track of them. There was some talk about doing some lighting in the parking lot out there. We don't want to lose track of that. Obviously, the women's room ceiling is an issue. We have some bathroom door accessibility issues that have continued to be an issue. Anyway, so there's projects. So I have to commend Misha for putting together this this spreadsheet, and it's something I'm sure that we could pass on to Matt when they get in that building. He'll want to keep track of that building as well. And the truth of the matter is, the bottom line is without someone in charge of these things, we're turning everything into crisis response. Like if it doesn't work. And they come and they fix it and they do what they need to do and they do some routine maintenance. They come for the elevators and the alarm, and the elevator and the fire extinguishers, which is great because that has to be done and obviously has to be licensed. But it really is not the best way to manage expensive buildings. If we keep up on the maintenance, hopefully we cut down on the crisis and the things going.
Yeah, my concern is starting this midway through the year.
Well, we wouldn't probably be able to. I don't
Wouldn't
know
be
if
able
we
to
could.
do it. I mean, right now, what do we have in your budget, a maintenance position?
Well, we don't. We have this.
We don't have anything.
Well, there's a line item there, but usually when if the guys come over, it's after hours or whatever, when we get
Yeah.
like Friday I was here because the heat was out and stuff,
Right.
so that goes under, we take it out, or when I put it through the timesheet, it goes under the maintenance
So
time.
there's not really anybody hired for this position at the
No.
present.
No,
You
the
guys
guys
just-
have been filling in, whoever's available.
Right, and they come and they're
Oh.
responsive when things happen. We send something in
So
and we.
we're looking
you
at
know,
this more for.
Would have to be July 1st. We'd have to put it in the budget. It's not in the budget
And
right now.
You need to, if this switches over, you need to fill your position. You said you needed one more full-time guy.
Well, when we talked about that, yeah.
Person.
Um,
Well, I would
that
say
was
put that in your budget, I would.
As a request. When we do
As a
the
request.
salary, which we've now got the COLA on,
Yeah.
I can calculate it that way and then
Yeah,
you could, when that,
definitely want to put that in,
with that change, you can speak to it on town meeting floor
yeah,
and explain what's happening.
yeah.
So, and I was hoping that, the idea behind this was that it also could be some weight off of their shoulders in the sense that, we already technically have a truck and there's a phone, although we may need to get a new one. It's probably old at this point, and an email to this position that we can reactivate. In fact, it turns out some people are still emailing that email. So I think the idea for this position, we wouldn't have to buy a truck, we wouldn't have to buy those things we already have. There is an office space, or there is a space in the back of Town Hall that was always the workspace for this position. I know that some of the tools were moved over. We could move some of the hand tools and things that this person uses back to this space. They had the truck. So we're not looking at a huge capital outlay, I think, to recreate this position. It's more just the body. I was thinking it might be ideal for this position to plow the town hall, the library, the school, and the EMS parking lot and leave the highway guys the streets. That would take that off of they're plowing roads. If this position had a truck and a small plow, they would just be doing the lots, the town building lots, which would make some sense for this position to take that over. And they wouldn't have to, the highway wouldn't have to worry about that so much. They'd be just concentrating on the roads. So I don't think we need a lot for setup. The budget would be after July 1st. This was knocked down to a 5, but I think that if we're going to go back to what we're talking about, we should at least put it at just a highway worker, like at a 7, the same level as a highway worker. Because that makes sense if they're going to do some plowing, if they're going to, and
So there's nothing in the budget, either budget to.
not to hire someone at that level at this
Not-
point. I
at
think
this
that our
point,
best bet is
okay.
to say, explain why we think we need it, put it back in the budget, and then put Tom's piece in his budget and explain why we need it, to kind of separate the idea that they really are two separate needs.
Yeah.
And that's made it hard on Tom. He's had a position where he's had to use them for things that he was using them for, and yet we're calling them in an emergency. And no one person can be in two places at the same
His
time.
guys always respond, I mean.
Oh, yeah,
I've
no,
heard
there's
that.
not any problem.
If you need a hand with something, they respond.
We can schedule it if it's not
Yeah.
immediate, they'll come if it's immediate. No, there's not been a problem with the work they're doing. The problem is there's work that really isn't theirs to do, that really needs a person to do. And we're increasing the number of buildings we have. We're now adding another building, and it's not gonna get any less.
And I want to reiterate that the work orders get answered. That's
Oh,
not
yeah.
the problem at all.
Yeah, no.
It's more that I know that Tom doesn't have a maintenance guy, and so I'm like holding on to projects and routine things and not asking for them because he does, nobody's in the position.
And this time of year is a tough time Tom, to spare anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough time, but it isn't, because, I mean, if you got more downtime, a little bit more in between
Yeah,
jobs
that's
now
true.
than we have during the summer,
Yeah.
to
But
split, split people up.
But
so.
summer, it's all hands on deck for you,
Right.
and they take their vacations because they're not allowed to take them in the
Right.
winter. So he's already trying to do a lot of projects and can be shorthanded by a person at any given time while they go and take their actual time off because he discourages it in the winter, which I can understand why, because it can snow any day. So I think it's a circumstance issue. It's not an issue with complaint against the work. It's just it's not something that he can just take on the routine stuff that needs to be done and expect that to be
So-
expect to operate the way he needs to operate.
So we're looking to spend more time on the proactive stuff and
And
the
we've-
small projects.
And we've started now with some lists, so we would have some
Right,
ideas.
and which is helpful.
Very
and
helpful.
then not, even though you guys are responding, is if you're in the middle of an asphalt project or snow plowing or something, then we don't want to be taking somebody away from a critical project. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
which
I
is
mean, if it's a
scheduled.
dire emergency, that's what we do, you know.
Right,
but
but
that's
still,
the tough part
yeah.
with like heat, this time of year for plowing, and then I mean, it wasn't like we were plowing on Friday when Michelle called and said there was no heat here. I was home, so I came right down. But I mean, you never know when it's gonna be,
Right.
I know.
and it's usually at
It's
the worst
winter.
time.
And if you're
so.
scheduling for paving and they
Some of
show
them are
up.
Old buildings too.
Right.
Yeah, and if you schedule for paving and they show up during this week, because that's when they tell you they're coming, you don't have any
Extra people.
you don't
because
have
we do
any
all the
ability to
traffic,
just say,
yeah.
oh, sorry, somebody needs to go. So it's
So
it's
short of
the
cloning
juggling.
you, we don't really.
So
or
we're
somebody
taking this
on your-
position
yeah.
and gonna make it a,
I think we should go back to where it was. If we're going back to the
Building and
old
ground
job
maintenance.
description, and you'll notice that we took the new job description, but we added back in a fair amount of the old work. So in order to do that, we have to go back to the old classification.
yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense to add
So-
back the work we're expecting and leave it at a much lower classification.
Other than the colors, the highlighting.
The blue
this-
is us, the yellow is Tom.
Right, no, I get that, but other than the colors, is this still in draft form or this is basically done?
Well, I mean, basically, it took two job descriptions and put them back together.
Yeah.
So in a sense, yes, it's in a draft form, but it's nothing new.
It's a final draft.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
this something you were supposed to vote on, or?
Well, I mean, if you do agree with that and doing it as a 7, which was what it was at, then I'm happy to put it in the budget for the finance committee to review. I haven't put anything in because I wanted the select board to weigh in on it first.
And you, Tom,
Well, now that the select board voted their COLA last night, I will create Tom's
finance.
budget, a finance.
with
Well, I will-
another position
Right.
Right,
on Tom's position
and then he
too.
can see
Yeah,
what
I
the
turned
numbers,
everything else in, but we were waiting on the COLA
Right.
stuff to.
Okay.
which they did last night.
Okay.
So now I start on payrolls.
All right. So everything's copacetic and we need to change this back to a 7.
Yeah, that's
There's
it.
no, I don't see any other edits that need anybody to weigh in on. I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That-
You see anything, Heath? or-
Not so far.
I didn't
Heath
see
does this
anything.
for a living, so you can understand why this is an issue. or-
Yeah, the preventative stuff and the proactive stuff is far less costly than letting things go until it breaks down, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
And I think at this point in time, while we're adding a third building, it's only gonna put more stress on the highway department to be periodically, now, it's a newer building, it's nice, it's gonna start out really nice, but everything has to have routine maintenance so it stays that way.
Well, back in the day too, we had talked about having a list that everybody could see and that person would be walking through. I recall that discussion. It might be when you and Alex and I were on the board. That's how far back
So this
it
is our
goes.
attempt at starting that.
Okay,
Obviously needs
good.
to be filled in more, but I
You
think it
wanna
needs to
make
be,
a motion?
Yep.
I think it needs to be filled in more with the person in the job, so they can actually.
All right, I make a motion to approve the edits on the building and grounds maintenance laborer position and reclassify it from a 5 to a 7 back to the old.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I think you can jump in any time here.
No, it's,
No,
I would
no,
be
just
repeating.
Make sure Tommy
Yeah.
gets his position and
We'll put them both in the budget and then it'll be up
Yeah.
for discussion and
So everybody's got the COLA, the department heads will have the COLA, and then he can make his adjustments to his budget.
well, I'll do a position
Yeah.
in there and
Okay.
he'll see what the new number is and then he can have,
Oh,
You know.
so then we'll have to go back.
and discuss that.
We're not gonna have to classify it though, because
It'll
it'll
be
be
it's
just
already-
like what we've already
It's already
done, just
done.
Right,
go
it's
It's
already
already a job.
classified, it'd just be classified as
it's
a
not
truck
a-
driver labor.
It's a new position, but it's not a new job.
Okay.
Person we hired.
Gotcha.
Same as the.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Just
Thank you.
clarify.
I'd like to, on this subject, I'd like to come in and see what you have for a process for work orders
Sure.
or how you request things, because
Oh, we had talked about
yeah,
that
what
too.
we use is like around $1,000 a year, which is minimal, but it has the ability to do preventive maintenance things
We
and
reached out
generates
to you.
automatic tickets annually.
We reached out to your guy a year or
Like-
two ago and he never got back to me.
Okay, I'll resend you some of the stuff, and there's some new people at that company too, but I think
Okay.
it would benefit this place. and
Okay.
It's not
We
really
can
that much money. So
Probably
it's-
roll that into town hall
Yeah.
budget, town hall
$1,000 a
maintenance
year is pretty
budget.
minimal for what it could save. And
Okay.
as far as
Happy to
preventive
review it. I'm sure Michelle's too.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
have her
that'd be
review it with
great.
me. And Matt now maybe review it, because,
We're on a software roll.
yeah. Sounds good to
Okay.
me.
Great,
Thanks, Mika.
Thank you.
thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Thank you.
Nothing else from me
Oh.
then?
I have
No.
one thing for you. It's a huge compliment from the historical commission members on your help with the cemetery project. Just FYI, the whole group reviewed that the other day, and wanted to say thank you. So I'm happy to do it publicly because it really moved the whole project
Yep, they did a beautiful
forward.
job.
Yeah,
They still got more to do, but they did it.
yes, yes, more to come.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Hopefully you won't have to go out much this week.
I know we've been.
Okay.
Okay, let's do the EMS. We're a few minutes early, but
Yay,
before they get called out or something, let's do it.
before a pager goes off.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, yep, I've got them all. Good evening. Thank you so much for taking some time out. I know it's a busy night for y'all. Matt Wolfenbright, EMS Chief, back again for another meeting, and thank you again for making time for us. Before I introduce my recommended candidates for tonight's promotions and for a recommendation for a per diem employee, I just wanted to take a minute to recognize the dedication of all of the Northfield EMS providers. I've just finished 3 months of service here in Northfield, and am absolutely humbled by all those who serve in both full-time and part-time roles. The hard work and commitment have been vital to the success of the organization prior to my tenure and since I've taken over. Their efforts to provide exceptional care, to care for the building, for the equipment, for everything else that we do to support me during the transition and uptake, finally feeling like I have my legs under me a little bit, is invaluable. And so I just wanted to publicly in front of you acknowledge all of the hard work, the value that they bring to us, and to this service as we're going through just this transition and building. Also, I wanted to recognize the strong internal candidates who applied for these positions. I know this has been a very quick process, and we posted the full-time position internally. While not everybody could be selected tonight, I do want to assure you and all of my staff that the future with Northfield EMS for everyone remains bright. As we continue to grow as a department, there will be new opportunities. And I've expressed to everyone that my personal hope is that they'll play a continued role in shaping our success moving forward. We received 4 applications from within the department, which I was very, very excited about, and it was really not an easy decision for me. I spent quite a bit of time reviewing every application and reviewing my understanding of each employee that we have that applied. Each applicant brought unique strengths, their demonstrated dedication to service, and have showcased a clear commitment to Northfield EMS and their mission. Since I assumed the role, I've had the privilege of working with all of the candidates in varying capacities, both on the road and through projects within the station and the organization. My decisions are based on my direct observations, interactions with each candidate, their history that I'm aware of within the organization, and feedback that I've been provided from other coworkers. I carefully considered multiple factors, including their clinical skills, their patient care as I had observed it, contributions to the department operations and improvements, their initiative, their work ethic on both scheduled shifts and in the extra time that they commit above and beyond their scheduled hours. Their ability to collaborate with others and with myself in these projects in our new endeavor, and identifying opportunities for growth, and their support of their colleagues, as well as their interpersonal skills and how they interact with their coworkers and myself. Ultimately, the individuals I'm recommending tonight stood out for their exceptional dedication, initiative, and measurable positive impact on our department. I believe they're the best choice at the present time to fill these newly created full-time EMT positions that you've approved and are going to help continue to build the future of Northfield EMS. To those who were not selected tonight, I hope that they know their contributions are deeply valued. Their hard work has made our department stronger, and I look forward to supporting their continued growth and success as new opportunities become available. So thank you for allowing me that time. Do you have a particular chosen order that you'd like me to go in tonight with my three candidates?
Whatever you want to do.
Very good. I would like to first bring up Trevor Slunkin, if I could, please. I'm pleased to introduce you as the select board to Trevor Slunkin, who has applied for the position of per diem paramedic with Northfield EMS. Trevor began his career in emergency services, earning his EMT certification in 2013 and recently achieved his paramedic certification in 2023 after serving distinguishing career in the military. His dedication to service, both in his military career and in emergency medicine, as well as the fire service, demonstrates the type of commitment and professionalism that I value here at Northfield EMS. Trevor currently works as a full-time firefighter paramedic with the East Hampton Fire Department. It's in that role during continuing education courses that I've facilitated that I came to know him. Through those interactions, Trevor's demonstrated exceptional critical thinking skills, strong communication abilities, and a sound, solid foundation of EMS knowledge. Additionally, feedback from his peers regarding his clinical skills and compassionate approach caught my eye and have all been overwhelmingly positive. His strong clinical abilities combined with his diverse experience and knowledge is going to make him a tremendous addition to our team. I'm confident that his professionalism, work ethic, and well-rounded experience will enhance our ability to serve the communities in Northfield. So with that, I would like to present to you and introduce you to Trevor Slunkin for the position of per diem paramedic with Northfield EMS.
Great.
Oh, any questions for Trevor?
I'm just curious about, I know you and I have talked about this. What's the volume of activity like in East Hampton? And I'm looking, you're also at Southampton too?
I work multiple jobs.
Yeah.
East Hampton, I believe last year's statistics showed we ran about 4,000 calls during the year, with a 3,600 call total for EMS related calls.
So that's, we're like just going
We're
over
gonna touch
1,000?
just about 1,200 requests for service. So we're a little bit slower, but he has a huge amount of experience within this shorter time of credentialing, which is where I really do believe he's been able to hone the craft and is going to be an immense stable asset for us.
Great, good. That was my only question.
Yeah, I really didn't. I looked at your resume and your application. Everything looked great to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
Oh. Yeah, I have a motion. Do we have
Oh, does she have the paramedic one? I don't
I
have
don't
the paramedic one. Did we
sorry.
type one up?
Here it is.
She's got it.
I move that we appoint Trevor, how do you pronounce your last name, Trevor?
Svanken.
Svanken, to the role of per diem paramedic to the Northfield EMS for the town of Northfield.
Second.
There you go.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Yeah, that was
Enthusiastic
painless,
guy.
huh?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Congratulations. Yeah.
That's all you got, bud. Appreciate you.
I'll hang up.
All right.
Yeah, you can get the full select
Get
board
the
experience.
Full experience. All right. Roll of the dice. I'd like to ask Joe to join me up here, please. I had a lot of talking, so I had to make notes tonight.
Yeah.
So tonight, I bring to you for my first recommendation, Joseph Reed, who's been with us since 2022 as an when did you come? Yeah, 2022, February. He joined us as a per diem EMT.
It seems longer.
After being certified
Doesn't it,
in
Joe?
2021. From my first interaction with Joe, he's demonstrated exceptional reliability and professionalism. He's always punctual, often arriving early, before me in the morning even, to his shifts and department events. He consistently goes above and beyond every day to help whenever is needed, often identifying areas for improvement and bringing them directly to me in a concise and proactive manner. Joe's played a critical role in managing and maintaining our department's equipment since I've taken over, as well as some of the operational tasks. He's worked closely with our maintenance captain and developed a comprehensive accounting system for our vehicles, maintenance records, and capital equipment, which has allowed me to better understand the status of our department as well as planning for the future. In addition, Joe oversees functionality of much of our essential electronics, including our cardiac monitors, power stretchers, and ensuring they're always in proper working order and ready to use. His contributions extend far beyond the logistics and operations. Clinically, Joe is a strong and skilled provider who continues to grow and improve. His dedication to EMS is evident not only through his work with us at Northfield EMS, but also in his role as a teaching assistant with the GCC EMT program, where he helps to train and mentor new EMTs. He's well-spoken, compassionate, and approaches every task with collaborative mindset. Whether caring for patients, supporting colleagues, or improving department operations, Joe consistently demonstrates a level of commitment and professionalism that makes him a valued member of our team. I have great confidence in recommending Joe for promotion to full-time EMT within Northfield EMS. His dedication, attention to detail, and drive to continue makes him a tremendous asset, and I look forward to serving with him in the future with your approval.
Any questions for Joe?
I was just really pleased. Well, one comment, I guess, / question. So you're still involved with the Irving Fire Department
Yes, I am.
as an EMT or a firefighter?
So I am a firefighter and EMT. I've been
Okay.
a firefighter now for over 20 years on the fire department in Irving, and since 2022 as an EMT when I joined up
Excellent.
here also.
Okay. And I noticed that Chief Wonka, you listed him as a reference.
Yes.
Excellent. That's always helpful to have Chief Wonka's
And
blessing.
he did support Joe. I
Yeah.
did check with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, in my short experience working with EMS especially over the last year or so, I know that you're a calm, steady presence, and you've put in a lot of time, especially I think with Todd. So I'm happy
Thank you.
to see you at the table. Usually you're in the audience, so we'll put the spotlight on you tonight.
Yeah, I've known Joan for many, many years. I think he'd be a great addition to the town.
Oh, nice. See,
Thank you, Heath.
your reputation precedes you.
Oh, you want to do a motion? You want me to?
Go ahead, I'll second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I recommend that we promote Joseph Reed to a full-time EMT to the EMS department effective upon completions of the employee packet which you will receive. This is a full-time benefited position starting January 1st, 2025. The rate of pay is $26.44 an hour, grade 8, step 1.
Second.
Does that sound good to you?
Sounds great to me. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you.
I'll
Welcome.
sign it.
Yeah.
All right.
Now Jake's on the hot seat.
Jake's in the hot seat now.
Yay, okay.
Last but certainly not least, it is my privilege to recommend Jake Whitney for promotion to a full-time position within Northfield EMS. Jake joined the department in January of 23, shortly after earning his certification in the fall of 22. Worked actively with my predecessor, who spoke very highly of him and his work ethic during our transition. In the short time Jake's been with us, he's not only grown as a clinician, but proven himself to be an invaluable member of our team, both on and off the ambulance. Jake's attention to detail has been instrumental in keeping our station clean, organized, and ready for operation. He's taken it upon himself to develop inventory management systems and create streamlined supply ordering lists. These initiatives have ensured that we maintain an adequate stock of medical supplies, reduce waste, and operate more efficiently. A level of dedication and initiative rarely seen at this stage in anyone's career. Beyond his contributions behind the scenes, Jake consistently demonstrates his commitment to patient care and teamwork. He's a strong, compassionate clinician who cares deeply not only for his patients, but also for their families and his fellow emergency responders. Jake routinely goes above and beyond by responding to calls day and night, whether it's to help form a crew from off duty or support our staff during larger critical emergencies. One of the things that sets Jake apart is his collaborative approach and his constant desire to improve. He has a strong understanding of our department operations and proactively identifies opportunities for improvement, often presenting well-developed recommendations on how to accomplish them. Jake embodies the values of Northfield EMS: dedication, professionalism, and a drive to serve our community. His growth, hard work, and initiative have earned him this recommendation for promotion, and I'm confident he'll excel as a full-time EMT with Northfield EMS.
Good, B, you have anything for him, for Jake?
I'm just thinking, well, I do want to compliment you and Joe on a very thorough, well-presented application packet. Having, over the last 4.5 years, looked at many different application packets, you guys took your time and presented your case well. I mean, we always have the form, that's really not the issue, it's the way that you presented yourselves. I mean, I know you, obviously Chief Wolkenbright knows you as well, but it was nice to see how seriously you took the process and how you presented yourselves, particularly in the cover letters and the supporting documentation and getting all the references. So I'm just noting that because I've looked at so many of them that are kind of a little haphazard at times, but still doing the job. So I'm just so thrilled at your work ethic and the whole team approach too. I mean, we've seen that with the police, and obviously that exists with EMS. So I'm just thrilled to have Jake up at and Joe up at the front instead of sitting back in the audience. This is really nice.
Thank you. The detail in that, I mean, that's why I could ask a stupid question, but
why North?
He's ready. Go ahead.
no, but I mean, it's the detail. All the applications are, filled out great. So I don't have any questions.
Oh, I have a question. How did you get interested in the EMT portion of it? Because you've got firefighting, all throughout your packet, and I know your history. Why EMT, and what is it that you like about it?
The biggest thing for me is wanting to go full-time fire at some point.
Yeah.
And as any fire department knows, the EMS side is a very important part of it. So I've always liked helping people out. I took a CPR class, I think back in 4th grade, and I've always been interested in it. So taking the next step was where I wanted to go.
Great.
Anything? No.
Nothing.
Okay. You want me to do a motion?
Sure.
Okay. I motion that we offer promotion to full-time EMT to the EMS department effective upon completion of the conditions and activities below. I don't know if you've received the thing yet.
They'll get their letter, but
Okay.
and their packet.
Okay, this is a full-time benefited position starting January 1st, 2025. The rate of pay is $26.44 an hour, grade A, step 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
then I think a quick update with the chief on something that just came up. Were you going to talk about? Yeah, we just got this.
I'd like to recommend Chief Hall to the position of.
I'll take it. 2685 in there?
You got it.
My update, nice quick one. Car 4 is our oldest cruiser, and we were kind of figuring out what we're going to do with our cruisers as we had a new one on order. It actually is coming in quicker than we thought. And then we sat down to have a meeting about our radios, repeaters, and such things. And I know the chief here is in need of a vehicle of his own, so he's not putting so many miles on his own personal truck. So I think our oldest cruiser might be a solution to that. So I'm bringing it forward to the select board for just so you're aware of that. The benefits of it, but ultimately it's your decision, and I forget who else would be in charge of that decision ultimately.
Well, I think the select board can
Select board.
determine whether or not they do that. I mean, I'll do the
Yeah.
paperwork if that's what you do, but and you can speak as to why we had a bit of a discussion about, whether this made sense. It is the older cruiser, but you have to remember that the police swap their cruisers out for a whole host of reasons, not necessarily because they're failing tomorrow, but because of the way they're utilized and the strain on the electrical systems, because they do a lot of sitting around for various reasons. So
Just running the vehicle.
correct, sitting, running, and
Not
that
really
runs,
driving.
Right, so the mileage doesn't always end up high, but there's
Wear and
other,
tear.
just in terms of that, which makes sense to replace them on a routine schedule so you don't end up with those issues. But you guys can talk about the condition and
Yeah, so we did check in with the mechanic that's done the service, who says it's extremely reliable, it's been very well maintained. And it's something that would serve my needs very, very well. When I was hired, we discussed that there wasn't a current vehicle available, and that when we were able to create one or find one, that would be something that would be possible. This presents an opportunity for very minimal cost, other than re-lettering, getting rid of the police side of it, registering, insuring, and some adjustment from blue lights to red lights to be able to do this at this time. Versus me continuing to run an average of about 350 miles a month on my truck for the last 3 months that I've been operating 24 hours a day. And I think would be a huge benefit if you're willing to approve it, that we can use it, and I can use it as the cruiser to represent Northfield EMS.
I normally wouldn't recommend a lot of cruisers to this, but this one is special, and we have a couple of officers that are really attached to it. I got an immediate phone call saying, we can't get rid of that. But that's the point, is it has to be good enough that it will benefit the next person it goes to. It's not so beneficial to give to another PD, because they're not gonna give us an extreme amount of money for the cruiser.
That's
So
what I
it's
was going to
almost better
say. The
keep
worth
for-
on it isn't going to be high.
No.
Right.
So it's almost beneficial for us to keep it as a detail cruiser, but then it's not that beneficial, because we're kind of moving to hybrids anyways. That's been the game plan. And so at this time, I think for Northfield and working as a team and working together, this would be a good move. I think Sarah's the one that brought it up initially, so anyways.
When is a new cruiser coming in?
We just brought that car down to Marlboro for them to move some of the equipment inside it to the new cruiser. So it's probably be ready in the next month. So, and it'll be a hybrid, so that'd be good.
So we can vote on that now?
Yeah, and the chief was also talking, I know that there was some money in the contract about using his car, but he's thinking
Yeah,
of
so-
transitioning that to.
Oh,
I would, instead of using the money for my personal
Excuse me.
use that had been appropriated in my contract, that we would just transition that to use as the allotment to go ahead and pay for the light changeover and the graphics from police to EMS on the car. So it's not going to be a huge expense, rather than paying out to me for my personal use
okay.
that had been allotted under the contract.
Okay. So basically a net zero.
Right, to make those changes.
Okay.
You want to make a motion, or do you?
Do you want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the transfer of the police vehicle over to the EMS for professional use.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
That
you
makes
very much
sense.
for your
When you
continued
get the
support.
other one in, we'll work with Andrea on whatever we have to do.
Yeah, I have a form that just moves it from one department to another.
Yeah.
We're already insuring it, they've already got all the
Yeah,
details in our
and the
insurance.
details
so-
in the
Okay.
contract,
We'll just
we can
move it
just
over.
get that straightened out. And
Right,
if you need anything.
Worked
Okay,
out really
Okay.
well.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
timing was perfect. so.
Thank you all for your time.
Good teamwork. Hello to your other medics.
Stopped in. EMS is here in force this evening.
Later tonight.
What?
Do you want me here for the appointments later tonight? I can stay.
I don't, the EMS list of appointments, you
No.
don't have to stay for that.
We're all set.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank
No,
you.
no, you
Thank
don't, no, that's,
Appreciate that.
yeah.
You got things in here that gotta be signed or you?
I have my signatures, those are copies for you to see, but
copies for us to
I have
look
the
at.
originals, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have the warrants and stuff to sign?
No, we
You've
did
already
that
signed
last
them,
week.
did,
but
that
you're
was last
gonna, but you're gonna approve, you came in and signed. You're gonna approve them tonight.
Now,
No, I
let's-
always
We will be
forget that.
going back on the warrant schedule on the 7th, correct?
On the 7th.
Yeah, on the 7th.
On the 7th, we go back on routine warrant schedule. Okay, so, yeah, we won't have these off weeks.
You will have one next Monday.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Please remember that on the 24th, she's gonna have it early for signature.
have it
We'll
on the
alert you.
23rd.
Okay,
So on
23rd.
Okay.
okay.
23rd, she's got warrants due this Friday and payroll due right away, so that the 23rd, so we will be alerting you to that. But then on the 7th, we'll be back on the routine schedule, so you won't have these weird in-betweens.
Okay,
Okay, let's
Okay.
do this. I motion that we approve the 12/11/2024 payroll warrant of $105,905.82.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm just noting there was a ton of, not ton, but snow removal wages in there, so it's
Okay,
a
yeah.
higher amount than normal
Yeah,
for those who,
Sanding and salting
Yep.
has started.
Okay.
I move that we approve the December 11th, 2024 vendor warrant of $167,746.60, which includes health insurance, the Places grant, and sewer transfer.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I move that we approve the minutes from December 3rd, 2024.
Second?
Those are straightforward. I don't have any edits.
You don't have any edits? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna move it up so that Amanda can do it. We're gonna jump to business. We're gonna do potential town meeting articles. Gonna move that up.
Hi, Amanda.
So I think in your work, we had she submitted an article. I do have a number now, although it's X'd out in yours. I hopefully have a number. They still keep moving around.
Oh, based on all the estimates?
Well, no, my article numbers keep moving around based
Oh,
on
the
the articles
actual
being
article.
submitted.
Oh.
But no, if you want to go ahead and,
Yes, so I submitted a request for a electronic sign in front of Town Hall. The purpose would be to display information about meetings, elections, important town events. And also I just thought of this when I was sitting in here for voting. In the fall election, it was dark out, so there was an accessibility issue. People were crossing in front of incoming traffic to enter through the front door. So if the sign was out there, it would help light it up, and we could put, lit up that the entrance would be in the back when it's dark out, just for safety. I've reached out to a few different companies to get information about the types of signs and the way they could look, cost, permitting, and installation. The prices are a wide range depending on what we wanted to go with, but I think just in talking to some people, be brick, on the outside to match Town Hall, and then a black screen with white lettering that could be dimmed and adjusted. And depending on who we chose to do it, they could design whatever we wanted, and it could have Northfield on the top with maybe the updated town seal or town logo. I just put a kind of ballpark number in there, but I really don't know until we do more research about exactly who we would want to work with and if it would just be the sign and then have somebody else do the installation, or
Yeah.
have the same person do both.
Right, we probably would have to run electrical out there, so there's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
in there for that, because you're gonna
Okay.
have to
Yeah.
bury some.
Well, this is just to put on the warrant for the,
Right, but since a group of them end up getting proposed by the select board, it made sense that you talk about the articles that usually end up with the select board name next to them. We'll probably put town clerk / select board / town clerk on this one.
Yeah,
but-
because I figured it would probably be myself or Sandra that would be in charge of updating it, because I already posted the meetings on the town website. So depending on what we wanted on the sign, it seems like it would probably be something that town clerk would post.
So I can speak to the prior discussion on this, because this came up with the finance committee, that there was some squawking about the sign before, and that squawking came primarily from me as the historical commission person. The squawking was about the examples that we had weren't historical looking, so we weren't going off of anything, and that was the feedback. And the feedback was also about lighting, dimming, and having something that just kind of fit with the building as opposed to the examples that we had. So there was a concern about the process as well as the sign. So I'm in favor of having signage, because I think all of the temporary stuff is confusing and doesn't look good anyway, and is just as hard to, if not harder, to keep maintained. But I appreciate the examples that you put in there, because those were more what I think would have helped the first time around.
Yeah, and I mean, I just took this example off of one of the websites I was looking at. Where is it? Something like this, you know, where it's just like brick, kind of like blends in with what town hall already looks like. I don't know if it would need to be that big, you know,
No,
or have
even
the things on the side, but yeah, just
Yeah. The
little,
white wood structure that you had too, I thought was fine.
Yeah.
I think the other concern that I recall was, in terms of placement, is making sure that we're not, because there's a historical stone in the corner, there's the Veterans Memorial. It's just making sure we're not creating a busy corner.
Yeah, I think maybe if, depending if it could fit in place of where the small white sign is now that has some rec information.
Yeah.
And this morning I noticed there's a little dip in the sidewalk that collects water there, so it would maybe be good if we dug it up and could flatten that out. And I think there's a little tree there that we might relocate over to the side of the building or something else, but I don't know, maybe,
Okay.
that would all be for whoever designs the sign.
And they did say they would help with permitting. This is something we will have
Yeah.
to go through Mass DOT.
Oh, I was
We'll-
just going to ask about
Yep.
that. So
We'll
can we
also-
actually get it so that people can view it if we
The
have
hope
Mass
is to
Dot?
go this way. And if we start.
So we don't have to angle it or find a
Correct.
spot
I think the idea
under the
is
tree or
you
something.
can't come right on the sidewalk. We don't want to undermine the sidewalk.
Right.
But if you notice, there's a rec sign there. So if we kicked it out a little bit and then went towards the
Oh,
tree,
that
and
would
if the
be
tree
good.
was removed and moved somewhere else on the property or side, we can talk about that. That would, and so we'd keep it several feet off the road because we don't want snow
Right.
damage anyway. So we can adjust the sign based on the size that everyone feels is available. So we would work with Mass DOT.
Yeah.
John already is set up in the system, so we can go through the town's police there to get the permit started
Yeah.
once if town meeting approves it.
Yeah.
And we would
I
go
think
from there.
if we could do kind of a proposal, like you've already done, but if it gets narrowed down in terms of we think it will look like this and we think it'll be approximately here, I think that's easier for people to wrap their heads around, because I can just envision, this is what came up at the last, a few years back, was we don't know what it looks like, we don't know where it would be, and so there was a reluctance based on also the historical feedback to not move forward. But I think if just now with years of experiences, just having a proposal of we think it would look approximately like this and it'll be approximately here, and I think that just gives a view for folks to weigh in on. And then we can get rid of all the clutter.
Yeah, I mean, depending on like what we wanted it to look like, you know, I could narrow it down a lot. And as far as the cost, because it's all over the place, you know, if we want multicolors or the casing around it, different things. But I think probably like brick, just to look most similar to town hall or not stand out too much.
Well, the other, well, I have all the info. I can have you come to a historical commission meeting, because I'm bound to be somebody who has a picture of a historical sign somewhere that, just like we did for the VFW, they just had somebody do a sign locally that looked exactly like the old sign.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm in favor at this time around. I think we just needed a tighter proposal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I know it. The last time it really, the signs they had to put out there.
They were like the bowling alley signs.
Yeah, they were kind of.
That was a rumor. That was never a proposed sign.
No, but they didn't really
No,
have
I
an
know, but
example.
that was in the
Stood out
material.
Or it made you
That
say,
wasn't
yeah,
a
I
rumor,
like
that was the material that I received.
Yeah.
No,
Something
no,
with brick,
I have all
something
the
that looks
material.
nicer.
Right, and
never the
like
bowling alley
Northfield,
sign.
and maybe have like our street number on it, just town hall. I mean, it already says it on the building, but just something so when visitors are coming to town, they can identify this as town hall. You can get more information about what's going on in the community here. Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
all
Okay.
right. Okay,
Thanks.
that's it. Thank you.
Yes.
If you wanted to continue on,
We'll continue on.
sort of wrap up these.
We had eliminated this at one town meeting,
Oh, I'm in favor of that.
the short-term rental.
Right. But, you
Gee.
know, it wasn't as negative when it was eliminated. There was some
No,
discussion
we
back and
actually
forth
had good support
from the bed and
from-
breakfast. They actually supported it, and it was somebody else who kind of get
Right.
up but potentially there's other, well, first of all, there are other short-term rentals going on through private, like Airbnb, Vrbo. If you notify them of this, they are obligated to collect those taxes.
Okay.
So there are other rentals that are happening, and we don't collect any revenue from that.
I think when we knocked this off, when we got rid of it at one of the town meetings or voted it down.
Yeah, we did.
It was during COVID too.
Yes,
And
you're
it was-
right.
It was a there was some hardship on the Airbnbs.
There was perceived hardship because
breakfast,
it's a pass.
perceived, yeah.
It was a pass. It doesn't affect the businesses, it affects the people who rent.
Right.
That It's
a
passed
pass-through
through.
tax.
But there was concern at the time of whether or not it would affect business
Yeah,
by having another tax.
And we know there's potentially another business coming in that would have rental, the campground, if it does open up, that would be another short-term rental that would pay this tax. So, you know,
And that's
it was
a
no
higher-
great amount of tax per se, maybe in the past, but it could amount to something more
Yeah.
substantial going forward. And
And I know we looked at this before, there was a lot of other towns that do this.
oh, every town around you.
Yeah, so we were.
You're
the
actually an
exception.
outlier in terms of this area.
Yeah,
They,
okay.
almost everybody has passed it.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I just wanted to bring it to you guys as, you know, you don't have to vote on it or anything, but I want to
No,
make sure
but I-
before these get placed on the warrant, that you will be visiting in the way back closer to town meeting, that I'm not putting something on there that you're just going to say, hey, take it
Yeah.
off and we're redesigning the warrant again.
okay.
So if the board is in support of continuing that.
The other one, the next one is the properties we talked about.
And there was some talk about bringing that back, so I've put it on there for you guys to discuss whether
Yeah.
or not you're interested in bringing that back.
I think we got to do something with those properties, and just ignoring them, and I know at the time there wasn't a lot of detail on what we were going to do with them, but
Well, it's
but
hard.
even just auctioning them off, getting something for them.
Right, that's generally the rule. I mean, you could certainly look
Yeah.
through here and see if there's something you think the town would like to pull off the list you have between now and town meeting, or, you know, till we post the warrant, to see if there's a property on here that you have any interest in, but otherwise, the auction is the best way to go, and the best way to have an auction is to have multiple properties, because no auctioneer is gonna come in for a property. The auction is responsible for advertising, getting collecting bid bonds, doing all that information. They're not going to do it for one property. So the more successful you are at presenting a number of properties, the more successful your auction is, because you get more potential bidders to come. So that's why we're kind of presenting them as a group. Also, the town has been sitting on over 20 properties now, some for many, many years. And this is just a few of them that we have clear title to, that the lawyer has cleared. We are working on additional properties. None of these are homes. These are all land. They're not homes. Some of them are very tiny lots. Sometimes an abutter wants them. I know for a fact St. Mary Street is a building lot, so that could go for a fair amount of money. But again, they're all different for different reasons.
I suggested putting this back on because we did this, was it last year? This got voted down, or the year before?
Just a year, the special.
But when we did the info session for the special town meeting on one property, we couldn't bring all the details of a packet. So all the suggestions that came up at the info session were things like, take them to auction, do this, have more information on the proposal. And effectively, by not giving us the authorization last year, we have to piecemeal them, and that makes no sense. To your point, if we are going to auction and actually make money on these, they have the more of a packet that you have, the better off you are.
This makes sense to.
Right, so I just think we need to, this actually addresses some of the questions that came up at the info session, which were knowing about all the properties that were available, putting as many properties out for auction and getting money to come back into the coffers, instead of just having one property, which...
There's only 3 ways to dispose of town property.
Right.
One is the state, 2 is an auction, a legitimate, arm's length auction, and 3 is RFP. So you could put out any one of these in an ad. Wait, we're selling this piece of property. The problem is it doesn't go anywhere near wide and far enough to have a real arm's length auction where somebody, else in town, oh, I didn't hear about that. Well, how did you put that RFP out? Well, we put an ad in the paper once. You want more exposure. You want people to all know and all have the opportunity, if they're interested in town or if they're from somewhere else, have the opportunity to see the property. So RFP, although it's a possibility, we could do one at a time. It never results, I think, in the same positive effect as putting a bunch out in an auction.
The same audience and the same breadth of audience don't see RFPs as they would like auction.
Correct.
A bunch of things being auctioned in Northfield at once. Anyway, this to me, actually, I thought if we did this, addressed all the questions and comments that we heard at the info session.
Yeah.
Jeff Dunn on Glen Road, and I think Bob Henry and Barry Bordner all had comments on the process, and I think this would address it.
Okay.
We did the town hall sign. Another one that has been brought to my attention potentially is many towns in the state and around us have fully accepted the portion of the state statute that allows a treasurer, collector, and a town clerk to, if they get certified, which is a 3-year and then exam process, to receive a bonus or additional compensation in the amount of $1,000 when they're certified by the association. So I've been asked to bring this in the past. Just to let everybody know, right now, neither of ours are certified. So we're not doing this because they want the money tomorrow, but it is something that many communities do. It is a nice incentive for the town to make sure that we offer them the encouragement to go forward and get their certification. That benefits the town, that they go to school each year, that they take the exams, that they get certified. And it's time out of their lives. Sometimes they have to go away to do the conference for 2-3 days. And it's just something to say, we appreciate that you've spent the energy, the time, studying for tests, taking all this and getting yourself actually certified. Just like we watched our accountant do.
So this doesn't apply to the accountant?
It does not. The accountant could be offered a bonus in the future should you, she just got certified, so I didn't do it. But the
Right.
statute allows for these two, the statutes
These two positions?
are by statute can be accepted. So that was, bringing forward, but the town has to accept the statute in order to do it. So it's a town meeting vote, people get to make the choice, but I just wanted it to bring to you so that you could decide if you were interested in putting it forward.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. I'm all for letting the people decide what.
And I very much encourage all of the staff at all times to take continuing education. We build it into their time, we build it into their budgets. I think that part of the reason there's such a strong staff here is that they are very well educated, they take the time, they get out of the building, they talk and make connections with other people around the state,
Yeah.
which is critical for asking for information, finding out how peers do it, keeping up with what's going on annually, attending those conferences or those meetings. Sometimes it's just, Franklin County, whatever association meetings, because I think that makes for stronger staff that bring back newer ideas, fresher things, and move the town forward. So
Well, it makes us more competitive as an employer.
and I think so this is just building on that concept.
Didn't Amanda become president of the town clerk?
Franklin County Clerks Association, she is president of the Franklin County. So they're very vested. I really think our staff is a great group. They get really involved and they participate in all of their, and they bring back to the town a lot of initiatives, new ideas, and I think it also keeps them invigorated and not getting, and positive about their job and everything they do.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know before
Yep.
they showed up,
Yep.
make sure that you were okay with that.
I don't
So-
see a problem with any of those.
Okay, so
Okay.
they'll just be coming in the warrant. And
All right.
residents still get to vote on everything, so it's not a,
Yep. Okay, Franklin Regional Council of Governments request for town project priorities. When is this due?
I think sooner rather than later. We got this email from Bob Dean looking for the town's top 5 priorities. FERCog is looking to provide support and advocacy on behalf of towns interested in applying for federal grants that might have matching funds. A lot of federal grants come out with matching funds. Small towns are like, hey, that's great, but the state passed a bill to help municipalities fund some of these matching funds. So there may be money out there through the state if you're going to apply and you need matching funds and you get a grant. So the FERCog has received some funds to help municipalities match their town needs with potential federal and state funding sources, and they got money to help prepare some grant applications. So they're looking for towns to list your priorities so that they can help match you with potential grants. It's hard. I mean, there's all these grants out there. Who has time? I mean, even our grant person who's working on current grants, who's working on economic development, who's working business, doesn't have time to be constantly perusing the federal grants. That's a whole nother level. And there's so many. So they've got some money to help find those for towns and help prepare those grant applications. But they want to know, what's your priority? What is the town looking for?
So should we put that on the agenda for the next meeting?
I think you could pick some priorities tonight.
Could pick some
I've
tonight
picked-
if you wanted, yeah.
I mean,
I've got 'em on the top of my head.
I mean, I think we all know what the first one is.
I think it's a toss-up between sewer and public safety buildings.
Yeah.
And I will say, the FERCog council, it wasn't a council meeting, but it was the FERCog town members, when we got together to talk about legislative priorities. Infrastructure came to the top, so anything sewer and water. Public safety buildings was another one, and school funding was another one. So to me, like, definitely sewer, possibly water, I'm not sure.
Separate those, just sewer, water,
Right.
public safety buildings,
Right.
anything,
Sewer's the biggest one I can think of.
yeah.
So sewer would be number 1. Which do you want to go number 2, water or public safety?
Public safety, the building,
Yeah.
because we're gonna, the whole, the fire's a priority, and that's going to be the biggest chunk.
Okay.
The other thing for me would be Anything that we can do with respect to, having sat through some of these different issues with, not issues, but training with respect to EMTs and paramedic, anything we can do to support public safety employees and their training and any equipment. I know there's a lot of grants out there, but my understanding from the last task force was that the more these are applied for regionally, the better chance you have of actually getting them instead of like one little individual town. So I'm sure the needs are very similar.
Well, there's an ambulance crisis if you're not following the news.
Oh yeah, I've
Right.
watched it. That's
Southern
we're
Berkshire
lucky to
County.
have-
Southern Berkshire County is
Yeah.
literally meeting now on trying to figure out what to do. They've lost, and there's another one, Central South, that's lost their ambulance.
Certification.
They're just not being served anymore. The private entities are stopping or closing shop or only doing transfers and other. It's in severe crisis right now in multiple parts of the state where there's
And
small communities.
A lot of it is it's a long, slow process to get certified and to get educated. So,
And the competition is fierce, so the
grants
expense,
for EMS training.
employees'
Right.
equipment training.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I have.
As far as number 5,
Oh, what, did we put water?
yeah.
Or you
number
want
3.
water 3 or 4, you can
3.
switch the order.
We'll do with water 3. I
It's
don't
clear
know.
my throat.
What do you think, Keith?
I think it should be a 3.
Which one, water or public?
Water.
Water, okay,
I know public safety is important, but I mean,
yeah.
They're all important, yeah.
how do you decide?
Well, they'll look for the grants and see what's out there. It's your priority, but I think they're going to find many towns are giving them the same ones.
I know they will because we went through that whole meeting
So
like a
they'll-
month ago and
Yeah.
everybody's like, public safety buildings, sewer, water, like it was just over and over, and school funding.
So even though it's
our
your
budgets
priority
are
list,
drowning, blah,
it
blah,
doesn't
blah.
mean it's the priority they're going to find. They'll probably
Yeah, yeah.
shoot out anything that they find.
Is that 5?
And you wanted school,
We had school funding. That was the other one that came up because the budgets, the educational budgets for towns are mostly over half of town budgets.
Why don't we put school funding?
okay.
Rural school funding, yeah.
I'll put rural in parentheses, yeah.
And then that will dovetail in, there's a legislative priority meeting in early January, so that will dovetail with the discussions with the state
Okay,
also.
I can send it
so,
in.
Yeah. They'll recognize all of that.
And before I forget, well, we mentioned sewer.
Oh, yeah.
That income survey, there will be a income survey coming out for residents who are on the sewer system. And it's real important when this comes out, they're aiming at mid-January. I will give a date when I get one. They're aiming at mid-January coming out with a survey. And this is important so we can, be eligible for favorable rates on grants and loans. So this is really important for anybody on the sewer system, and that those are the only residents who will get this survey. It's real important for them to return it.
You need an 80% return
You
rate.
need an 80% return rate, but I mean, this is a
We need to
no-brainer
keep-
if you're on the sewer system.
And it's confidential, doesn't
It's
come to the
confidential.
town. We actually
There'll
don't
be
see
more
it.
details when I get
Yeah.
the details.
And
I just-
the letter, we'll have the letter ready
Yeah,
so
the
people
letter,
can
we'll read the letter and everything. I just wanted to just
Yeah.
mention
Give a
that because we
heads up.
mentioned sewer.
keep saying it again
And
and
I don't
again.
forget it later,
Okay.
Oh,
Okay?
and this is going in the newsletter too, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going in the
great.
newsletter.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
okay. So, next up is website redesign and contract.
Okay, so I'll give you an update and then Bea can fill in too because she was at the last meeting. So this has been obviously an issue. We've been talking about website. We've brought a couple of updates that Sandra and I, but several people in departments have been participated in reviewing some of the new website designs. Bea also attended the last meeting with our vendor to discuss some of the issues from the user perspective and asked what options there would be to address those. And she can go into that a little. So the proposal for an upgrade contains obviously a new look. This would be worked on with their design team and has a fair number of customizable options. So we would be changing the look, but we have ability to customize various pieces of that. It also will contain something called Audio Eye, which is a program that continually updates through software the elements needed to make and keep the site ADA compliant. Now, we're supposed to have an ADA compliant website by law. You don't have to do this feature. It does also have an annual cost to but the problem with that is they'll make you an ADA compliant site, and then when the law changes every year or 2 years, it will be incumbent upon us to make sure whatever changes to ADA compliance come down, that we're following those, initiating those, and incorporating those. Whereas doing this audio eye and incorporating it into our renewal, that will happen automatically. It's a software piece that will be continually run through our website to make sure that we are, and if we put something on, for example, by accident or unintentionally that isn't compliant, that will be corrected.
It also gives you a warning before posting, right? That was the other.
Right. If
So you
comply,
can't post something that's not in compliance.
it'll tell you that you need to fix it. There's more robust features for much of it, especially we're enhancing the recreation department header and page because they're going to be, I think, a pretty heavy user of putting information on it. And in going along with that, we're going to have a second calendar, whether it'll be a toggle or two next to each other. I think that's a design issue we can discuss, for non-official town events. In other words, a community calendar. Love to get, here's the town one with all the meetings and official stuff. Here's a calendar that has all the rec stuff, other community events. We can have people send that in and update that so that people have a place to go to see what's happening in the community right on the town's
Like
website.
when St. Patrick's is selling chocolates.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Some very important things to know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of improvements to the back end managing of the page. We're trying to move away from complicated, outdated software to a more streamlined and manageable system. This will allow other users of the site from our end, the people who do like rec or
Historical Commission.
Conservation Commission, Senior Center, to actually start to be able to manage their own page. So we stop with such a static pages because it's so complicated that Sandra is the only one who can make changes.
Yeah,
you had to give up.
I've done some of the editing
Yeah.
that Sandra's done, and it's one of the most antiquated, non-intuitive back ends I've ever
So that
seen.
will change and we get that fixed. So that will make the use of the whole site more relevant. People can change their pages, they can add information.
Well, we don't have to go through one person.
And people can do that at their own training and their own pace, as opposed to Sandra having to do making every change,
Everything.
which slows the process and actually stalls it for some people. They just don't do it because it's complicated to explain what you want to someone and then have to then try to do it. So that's kind of the process we went through. We had Misha involved, we had Stacy involved, we had Leslie involved. Bea came to the second meeting, which was great because she asked for more. We're all using it from one perspective, but the front end user town resident perspective is a different perspective. So Bea raised some questions about that.
Some of it was from my background in the internet space in terms of how we're categorizing things so that they're easier to find from the homepage. The other thing that I was really interested in was making sure that we could easily customize any of the emails that are going out. So right now, if you're on the one, it should be easier to just check off what it is that you want to follow and get onto the email notification list. And then the second thing is, when the emails are going out for agendas and minutes, that should be easier to customize so you know which committee it is, for example, simple things like that.
You get a notice that says select
Agenda.
board,
Click
agenda
here.
for select board. And then so you don't just get one that says new posting on the website and you have to figure out what it is. You can actually
Right.
be notified as to what you're getting. So you can ignore it if you don't want to look at it for a while, or you can, so you have to open every single one. So lots of, seems like little things, but from the user perspective, Bea had that perspective.
Well, it was like, technical.
Right. So
User-
funding.
It really is part of community outreach. And the other thing is we can use RSS feeds if we want to use social media to push anything out.
So there'll be much more functionality, we're hoping, in that respect. And we saw some examples, we had other websites to look at, things from way over what we want to do to things that we thought were too little, so we were trying to find a middle ground. So the transition, the cost. So to do all of this, and it will include our first year fee, is $27,700. The first payment is due $9,235 due upon signing. The remainder they've pushed off until July 1st in the new fiscal year. So currently I have in the budget $4,500 for in the select board technology line item, which is where we budget the website. And then we will cover the cost of $4,700 from the computer budget other licenses account. So
Okay.
that's how we will pay the first $9,200 up front. And we need to do this before the end of the year because we've got some pricing that will expire January 1st, and we just have to start the pricing model over. So I'm not saying it's prohibitive. We can probably try to beat them down on some of the things that we discussed, but we'd have to start all the pricing over again. So next year, and you'll see it in your budget, I'm upping the cost. It is an updated cost to go forward on this. The new annual fee will be up around $10,000. You've got to remember, $2,500 of that is now the software to do the audio eye. So that's a big jump from that.
2,500 of the 10K
Yes.
is the ADA stuff?
Because that's a
Okay.
separate software that they contract. It's not their software.
Gotcha.
So that, if we choose that option, then the ADA piece is an annual assessment on top of. So then the other piece is our normal price that we're budgeting $4,500 for now, plus an additional $3,000 would be our new cost. So that's 10. That's in your budget for an update on the annual cost.
When was the last time that we actually did anything technology-wise for the website?
Oh, I don't know, long before me, I wasn't.
Whenever this one was,
I mean, I,
it was back in 20.
So we're several,
2015.
oh, no, yeah, before me.
2015?
Yeah,
So
10
we're
years?
9 years behind?
yes.
Okay, so this is going to, from a budget standpoint, it's going to look like a huge jump, but we basically have not been making any improvements.
For 10 years.
For 10 years. Okay.
So, yeah,
The point of this, with this company is.
I think we're lucky it's
Every
not.
5 years, we'll go through a refresh.
it's been
on the
10.
website.
The other thing to know is that this is on an old software package, which is phasing out. Like, it's not this Drupal soft, they're moving everybody off of it. It's not something that is commonly used anymore for this kind of thing. People are updating and getting out. It's still out there, people can still do it, but support-wise, it's
Oh,
very difficult.
The only questions I had for you were, so I'm assuming, since we haven't updated significantly in 10 years, that we're probably behind on security as well. I didn't ask them about that, but
Well, I'm imagining for going to the new standard, we're going to whatever they're doing is most secure. I mean, there is a
it's not
package.
10 years old.
Right, there's a package in here that talks, that I think I sent, that talks about some of this stuff, and it probably has.
And does this include all the storage that you guys need too? If we're going to be doing more, then we're going to be storing more. So is there any other, is this a complete comprehensive fee then?
We've certainly never run into anything with the 10 years, so no.
So there's no add-on
No.
fees? This is a one-size-fits-all fee, right? So that if all of a sudden our usage expands, we're not going to have like extra charges on top of that? Okay.
No. So that takes us through till the end. In the next budget, I'm putting in the up cost for the annual 10,000. So that means as of July 1st, we can pay another 10,000 of this, even though it's during the first year. So that leaves us about 8,000 to cover. So generally speaking, we have a little bit of funding left in the technology line item. We had a little bit left last year because some of the licenses and different things change around. If I have some money before June 30th, I will advocate putting that money on it. And then,
When you say more money, you mean stuff we haven't expended?
correct, at the end of
It's
the year.
in the budget.
Correct. No,
Okay.
at the end of the year, because we're always estimating our budget based on usage and certain other pieces. If you go down to the technology line item, which is the next section, go down. There you go.
Oh, here. Oh, this stuff.
Right in there, there's estimating going in for how many calls we're going to make, what we're going to do, some software packages, some updates to various things. So I'm thinking that if we have some of this left at the end of the year, by June 30th, to use some of that money
Oh, and pay it down.
and pay it down.
Got it.
And then use some of that money up front to make make up the rest, so that we can we'll have less than the 2/3 going into the 7/1 date and pay up the remainder after July. So I think it's manageable. I think we can cover it without going to any other funding source, without going to the town meeting for any additional requests.
Okay. I like that.
Within the current budget that we have, and just being careful and proactive and watching the
This
technology
doesn't
line
go
items.
to a town vote or anything then?
Well, I mean, the budget will. I mean, obviously,
will, yeah.
next year's budget goes to, with the increase of 10,000. But having said that, the cost of putting this new piece on is will not, because we're pulling it from multiple sources where we have some existing
So we
funding.
have enough different, just to summarize, we have enough different line items of technology, not all of which are being spent at 100%, that
Right.
you feel that we can draw on to draw down the
Yes.
total cost for the new software. So then the FY26 amount that we'd be paying won't
be the full
huge.
2/3. No,
Got it.
that's
Okay.
what I'm planning on.
I just want to summarize. Okay.
Right. So I don't think it will be any other than the increase to our annual cost.
For those who aren't looking at the spreadsheet.
And that's up on the select board technology line. I'm not anticipating any additional cost to do this upgrade. We will work within the existing budget to pay for it.
No, and the thing I like too is if we go in this direction, then there's a whole process that we go through with them to port what's needed and what's not needed from the existing website. So there's some design support that's built in, for example, in project management support, that's built in getting from the old website to the new website. So that's part of the package too.
The second piece you see in there is a piece to do some work with recreation. We're not moving forward with that, and it wasn't their page. It was potentially moving their My Rec
Registration.
software, which they already pay a software fee for managing their programs and registrations. They also can do that with Civic Plus. And make it the same thing. They're not moving forward with that, so on their page they'll have a link to their already existing.
Okay, that's what I was going to question.
We're not doing that at
Okay.
this time. We can we can do that again in the future if they decide to change that. But right now, Rec has decided with what they have going,
it's too
and
much.
the cost and the change that they'd have to reteach everybody on the new software when they only had been using it a couple of years. It just seemed like overkill for them, so they're going to let that rest, and we'll just have a link to their registration software on their page and leave
Just
it
like
at
we
that.
do now,
Yes.
but it'll look better.
So that, although you saw that proposal, they decided they don't want to move forward with it.
It was a good one.
So that's the explanation. If you have any questions,
I got all mine answered, so I'm good.
yeah, that's why I wanted you to participate in the last call
I think this is an important part of moving forward on community outreach. We definitely need something different from,
we've been talking about changing the website for a long time now,
Right.
at least a year.
and getting rid of a 10-year-old
And we did
product.
meet with a few other vendors, just so you know, way back in the beginning, Sandra and I met with a few other vendors. One of them, we didn't like their site at all. Like it was not, we didn't find it navigable very easily. It seemed almost too airy. We couldn't find things. We're like that, we don't need that frustration. And another one, but the pricing difference isn't dramatic. So we were happy to think that this would be a smoother transition. We kind of like some
And
of
this
the
is
things
the
we had
vendor that
seen.
you work with now, so are
Correct.
you comfortable with the support that you're already getting?
They're awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Because that's
So-
an important part of any package, is whether or not you like
So
the
you
support.
looked at a number of different.
We did look at a
vendors.
couple other vendors. We did
Okay.
have them to meet with
There's
them.
not a lot in this space to begin with.
And some of them didn't have a lot of government experience, which can make a difference. You'd be surprised.
You know, you need somebody who has government experience.
But that if they're
expertise.
doing websites for private businesses, it's very different than if you're doing it for a municipality. So,
Okay.
but we
Okay.
decided to then give our current vendor a
good.
chance and go with that.
What do you think? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Comments on it,
I
Heath?
think it's a wise investment because I think the more that people are going to be able to engage with things, find information easily, it's just going to increase voter turnout. And,
Get clear
just-
emails that indicate what
Yeah.
meeting's going on, yeah.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make sure that people come to the page. We want to include that community calendar. We want to give, there's a slight bump up in our here because we wanted to give rec the option to do a little bit more with their page than a more standard department might, just so they could have some more attractiveness, so people will come to their page. So if people are coming for the rec, if they're coming for the community calendar, they will also see other things. So we're just trying to make sure that everybody can find.
All right, I'll entertain a motion then.
To approve the, how do we want to word this? To approve the new contract with Civic Plus for the
Website.
website support, hosting,
Update,
update.
Redesigning.
Redesign,
contract,
update.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do I sign this? or-
Yeah, she's got a little arrow. You just need to sign it. We'll fill in all the rest of, they want your billing person. We'll
So
put
you
the
don't need the
account.
whole, you just need the
Just
chair.
him, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So Swamp Road, I just wanted to give you guys an update. I spoke with the gentleman from DCR. I couldn't find my email at the moment, so his name does not come to my mind. I told him that town meeting had passed the article to give this property the select board control, so to move forward. They're still interested, so right now you don't have to take any real steps. It gives you a chance to think about it. The next steps would be them making an offer, and in order to make an offer, they're going to conduct an appraisal. They're not expecting that back until February. So I just wanted to give an update so you don't wonder what's going on and it's hanging around.
So we're
But it
not
will come
taking a
back.
vote. This is just a FYI on what we voted on.
Correct,
at the
and
town
probably
meeting.
sometime around February, they'll come in with an appraisal and an offer, and at that time, you guys can see what you think about that.
Okay. All right. I want to jump to, before we do the select board annual budget,
Oh,
town administrator as a third warrant signatory as needed. I just, I've had a couple times where we've had a hard time getting signatures, and it's very important for the town to pay its bills and to pay its employees. And one of the select board duties is to sign the warrants, and not everybody is always fulfilling their duties.
Not always available.
Not available, but not always, even when they're here, not fulfilling their duties. So I think it's important that we have, in an emergency and we can't get 3 signatures, we need to have
this is embarrassing.
the town administrator as a, emergency signatory.
We had to
I don't know
do
how you
this
feel
during
about that.
COVID.
We did do it during COVID.
I have some pretty strong feelings about this. I mean, I have been out for several months now on medical leave, and when signatures were still needed, I still came down here and did it. So I don't know why there's other members of this board whose names I don't often see ever on our warrants, and I think it's kind of ridiculous. I don't know what the recourse to that is other than a recall for them not doing their job.
Because it is listed as one of their primary functions.
Absolutely, and I think it disrupts the functions of the entire town, and it's one of the basic things that you can do, if anything else. If there's something going on with a meeting, you got a family issue going on or whatever, but it's a pretty wide open window that you can make it down to the town hall and at least give a quick overview. I don't have time to go through every single piece of paper in those warrants, but I do try to at least skim through them and know exactly what we're signing. And plus, there's a level of trust with the people who are putting those packets together. They're doing their job and being accurate with everything. But
Do you feel we need to have the town administrator as an emergency one? Or?
so I'm torn because I feel like that's enabling this bad behavior and failure to do our job as select board members. Like I feel like that's an enabling thing that we're going to take. But also, I want to make sure that operations move forward in spite of that. So yes, on the fact that I want to make sure that continuity goes forward. No, in the fact that I don't want to enable people's bad behavior and failures to just do things that they know they should be doing for the sake of being difficult.
Well, do you think there should be a guideline around we've reached the critical, like Wednesday deadline?
I was going to suggest that. I would never consider doing it until Erin comes to me and says, I can't push the
We're at
button.
the 11th hour.
And we've had that. We've been to the point where she's holding off pushing the direct deposit payroll button because we only have 2 signatures. And that that becomes a little antsy when we're texting people and emailing people that we are looking for a third signature. And I feel bad that the financial staff is stressing out over cutting the checks or.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring that up just to discuss. We don't have to vote on it, but I wanted to bring it up to
Can
discuss.
hold off on it. Yeah.
I would be in favor of it. The only thing I think I would ask is that, I mean, I don't know how if we can send an email out to all of us to let us know that that has occurred without breaking open meeting law. Is that possible?
No, you can send out an informational, it's non-responsive.
Okay. I would like to know when that has to occur for my
Yeah.
own documentation purposes, that I think some of these
We've
things are getting
reached-
kind of ridiculous. Like, we've reached a critical point where she has to make a
Right, because
signature because someone isn't
we
showing
get the
up.
email that indicates, or the calendar invite that indicates the warrants are ready.
Right.
And we also get a heads up if, on the rare occasion that
Like this
it's
week,
different
next week.
because of the holidays.
Because of the holiday, instead of on the 24th, which is Tuesday, the warrants
Right.
will be ready on the 23rd.
So I'd be comfortable with it if we get a notice that we're having to pull the trigger, so to speak, on.
And usually that's end of the day on Wednesday because the payroll is Thursday. So she's
Okay.
leaving for the day. It's the end of the day and she needs to now process. That's
So if
usually
we
when we're down
don't-
to
So
the
then the
wire.
condition would be if we don't have a signature by the end of the day, by the end of the work day on Wednesday, then the town administrator would sign it. So all the bills can be paid and
Right,
employees
Thursday,
can be paid.
Thursday, the treasurer comes in to cut the checks.
And then you will
sign the
send an
checks.
email to that effect that we did not.
Yes.
And then that can, if there's, continues to be a pattern, then I think it needs to go as an agenda topic.
Yeah.
Hopefully won't be needed much, just be the rare occasion, I'm
I was
hoping.
I want to make sure we pay
We
our
scrambled a few
employees.
times.
And I was just like, wow, this is, if.
And it may only,
It could be something happens, I mean.
and it may only happen when you're off schedule, but,
Yeah, that's been,
so it may not
Confusing.
happen when
Yeah.
it comes to a regular meeting, there's enough people, if there's enough people, that's not a problem. But, so it'd be pretty sparing, I would think.
If you guys want to wait, or if you want to vote on it, that's one thing, if you want to wait. I just wanted to bring it up.
I'd be okay to vote on it.
I'm okay to vote on it with
Yeah.
those conditions,
Stipulations,
and
yeah.
then I would say review it in 6 months.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we make a motion for
So
that?
I would move to authorize the town administrator as the third warrant signatory as needed, i.e. If we don't have a third signature by close of business day on Wednesday, then the town administrator is authorized to sign it, and that we will review this as needed in approximately 6 months.
I'll second that.
And that you will send out a notice that in the
Yes.
event that you have to do it, so
I
then we
made a
can
note.
see what the pattern is. So I would,
Second that, yeah.
it's a long one.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
All right, let's just get it done.
Yeah, let's get it, yeah. Okay, next up, Select Board Annual Budget Request.
You'll see two sections that I normally bring to you. The first is the selectmen's expense, and then we usually bring you computer supply and service because they're somewhat integrated. The one I sent out was the working copy, so I just wanted to note, the selectmen's budget part is fine. There's no corrections there. I mean, you can review it, obviously, but I didn't have an error there. Down below in the computer supply
Oh,
and
the
service.
only thing that changes is the technology piece.
Right,
Yeah.
but I sent that out to you, and that's what it looked like. Down below, when you get to that, if you have any questions on the top part, I'll explain why the piece you got looks a little different. But on the top portion, the only thing I'm recommending is that the telephone go up, because as you can see, we didn't have enough funding last year, and we're already on track to be
Why
underfunded
is
for this year.
that?
Because
What's going on?
Well, we went to voice over IP, we changed out our phone system.
Right.
And the truth is, we've actually been bringing pieces under our umbrella. So Highway has now got in our phone system.
Oh,
So,
right, okay.
So technically, he's not paying that bill anymore. We are, because we have now an integrated phone system.
So if it goes up on ours, did it go down on his?
Well, I mean, you'd have to calculate $20 a month. I mean, I'm not sure
What-
it's.
Yeah.
worth playing that
Okay.
game. We also added a phone for rec because she has a space now. So every phone we add,
Okay.
I mean, it's worthy. We've given them an extension. People can reach them. People can leave them messages
Okay.
that she can get back to them rather than
Okay.
calling her home phone and God knows what hour of the day or night. She now has an extension and a phone. But every time you add those pieces, obviously
It's
the cost
making it
goes
go
up.
up.
Correct. So it's kind of, that's what's happened. And it's it's convenience for the residents, but we do have those slowly added increases.
Okay.
The technology, obviously, the 5,000 is the website. So
Yep.
that's pretty much the explanation there.
Is everything down below
So the
part of the overall technology?
No.
Okay,
Computer
I just
Supply and
wanted to-
Services is Department 155.
Oh, okay,
It's a different,
Oh, got it.
your Selectmen's 122.
okay.
Your Department 122. And I tried to break down underneath like what's in some of those so you can see, there's a total in the black, the blue is a breakdown. So you can kind of we try to put in what's linked to those costs. So postage, 4115, I've put in 3 things that kind of show you roughly.
Oh, where your increases are.
Right, so
Okay.
if you can see under technology, you've got .gov, which is the registration of our domain,
Yep.
northfieldma.gov, and then Civic Plus. So those 2 add up into the $10,000.
So I think it's important to note that what we call the select board budget actually includes stuff for the town. It's not like
Yes.
the
It's out of the
select board are spending.
It's the select board office,
Right, it's the office of the select.
correct.
The executive office, and it includes.
Right, all of this.
Yeah.
These various
Got it.
accounts, and those are the account numbers. The select board expense,
Just
your
anticipating
department is
questions.
122. So when it says 01, that's a general fund department, and you're 122. And then those 5,000s are expenditure lines. We've just put it on there for ease, so I can track which line items we're
okay.
talking about. And the thing. So the computer supply and service is a separate department, 155, but it's kind of always come to you guys to
We have to
to
sign the
follow.
contracts.
Right. So the one I sent out had the computer machine repair and replace on there twice. So that was one of the things, I don't know why it did. So, but this is the correct version. So that shows up later down. So the copy machine is on there. We have a lease on our copy machine, just so you know, which is something we have to consider next year because the squeaking is getting a little bit unbearable. We're starting to wear out parts. And believe it or not,
It is
it's
a little
5
clunky.
years old, which doesn't seem old, except for the use has actually gone up exponentially. The senior center is now printing their newsletters on it. Rec is doing a lot of printing. It's great. She's getting out a lot of material, but
Oh.
the use has gone up significantly. I'm still budgeting 3,000. We'll probably exceed that by a little bit because we've really but again, the whole thing is voted as one article, so it balances a little bit against another department, another line item if they don't spend quite as much. Internet is Comcast. That's our actual bill for internet. That one has been a little bit lower. It was up in 23, it's down a little in 24. I'm not exactly sure why. We must have changed. So I've left it because I'm not sure that's accurate. Because when I look back to 23, it was a little bit higher. It was over 3,000. So I've left that there for that cushion. Northeast IT is our network management, and you'll see a big jump there, and I'll tell you why. Everybody wants an email.
Oh, right.
That pays for every email account. So now we have slowly added professional town emails for all the boards and committees. So we've added all, planning board, conservation commission, ZBA now has one of their own. So these aren't going to people's personal emails anymore. So as we add those emails, there's a charge per month. We don't give them the apps, we don't for the expensive, but it's all archived. So we're now archiving town's official email. So we've added staff, or we don't give every person an email. There's departmental emails, but some of the police officers have emails because the detective, the sergeant. So as you do these things, it adds the cost.
Okay, Can you,
And-
at some point, not now, but can you give us a sense of how many more emails we have to go? Because this still is a pretty good jump if it's all email.
Well, it isn't all email. It's also calls, because they'll come out to, our contract, they cover almost all service.
Right.
But every now and then, we're paying for a cable to get replaced. Minor things. I wouldn't buy a new computer under this, but it's for for any one of those types of things that have to be done. That might go under here. But we do have, for example, we didn't do anything with fire because we thought we were going to have a building, and fire, police, and EMS would have all been in the building, and we would have. Police have town, and now the EMS director has one. We've added the EMS department officially.
Right.
Fire has never been added. Eventually, there probably should be a fire department email.
What about, this is all fine, I'm just noting that that's a significant. What about, speaking of fire, so is Code Red now on?
Code
this
Red
budget?
is, down here, you'll see other computer support and licenses. That's a license. You'll see Vadar,
Yeah.
Zoom, Code Red, our door lock software that we pay for every year. Those are broken down in the blue, feeding into that. And that's one of the ones that was an error. It showed last year that our budget for that was 28. It wasn't. It was 32,955. So I made that correction. And I'm actually cutting that back a little bit to try and help offset the other budget line item, because we didn't spend as much out of there as we needed to, so I'm cutting that back a little bit.
Okay.
So we save 3,000 in that line item to help offset the. You have to remember that our contract with Northeast IT isn't just emails. We have an annual contract so that we have like unlimited calls to them. So we're paying a contract, as well. For IT, and I'd have to say we're pretty much happy with them. They're very responsive. We've got it, all the departments call themselves now. I mean, I know what happens because I'm automatically, when they're issued a ticket, I'm CC'd. So I'm watching all those tickets go through in case somebody calls in. But I've got to say, on any given week, I'm watching a ticket or two go through from the town. And they respond to every one of those.
When do we need to sign the next contract with it?
Probably another year. I think I have one more annual review with them.
Okay.
And then we can relook at the contract. I think it's a 3-year, so I think we're going into the next year with them. So then the next one, the computer support and licenses, that's an amalgamation of all the various licenses and support. Vadar, we bought that software package a number of years ago, and we're paying it off over 4 years. They broke it into, because it's the accounting. Our accountant uses it, our tax collector, treasurer, and assessor's office are all connected via the same software, so they can transfer their data. And they can work on their various spreadsheets. So Vadar is an accounting software package. It's in the cloud as well, which is really nice because that allows them to work from, as you have recalled, none of those 3 are full-time positions, but they're very good about responding if we email them during the workday, because they can go right into the cloud, log into their account, and send us a report on any given day. So, but that contract is, this may be the last year. I'm having them check on that tomorrow to see if this is the last year that we would need. I'm sure there'll be an ongoing fee, but it won't be incorporating the purchase of the software anymore. So that may be the last year that we have quite that size on Vadar. And then we pay various licenses, including Zoom. We have a microfiche, believe it or not, that is stored somewhere. Town clerk gets that bill. I don't even know if
record storage.
I don't even know if anyone could access it anymore, but there is apparently some fee for that.
There is.
Code Red is in there, and Code Red is $4,800 a year, approximately.
Is there a usage component to that annual? Because we've actually increased the usage on that because we use it. No, you're just paying for the license every year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the biggest chunk of that, and plus a few other, like I said, the microfiche. And then we do pay, I think it's gone up to $800 for the door lock software annual fee. So we pay for that. That's a software package, so we can program the doors and get reports on that. So, so the total down there is 83,155 and not the one you had. I do have $1,000 in for replacing equipment. I admit that's a little low. I had at one point thought to boost it to 3,000, but I think I'll wait a year because we're already seeing a big enough increase.
We're seeing a lot of
If
increase,
next
yeah.
year the Vadar one goes away, I might try to absorb a little bit of that into the equipment account. When I first started, I have to say,
We needed to do
the
that.
town
but-
was generous enough to vote an article for $25,000.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, this was when we got out of Windows 7, and we were looking at a lot.
Right,
I have to say I spent the last of that this year.
okay.
So I was helping departments that needed to upgrade a laptop or buy a new printer with that money for a long time. Now that that money is gone, I think that replacing equipment line item will need to go up, but I'm hoping to do that once the Vadar number comes down.
Okay, got it.
So another year, hopefully, rather than just raise that.
Right.
So that explains those pieces of that budget.
Do we have to do anything on this right now?
Well, I mean, your selectman budget you should approve. Like, is that what you want to put forward? Do you want to make any changes? I mean, that in and of itself is your office budget. I mean, I'm going to propose that technology budget, but the selectman's expenses is really your budget to manipulate.
Yeah, I don't see huge increases anywhere. in the
No,
select
only
board.
in the technology, but we've already,
Technology, which we already addressed.
right. All right,
I'm not
I
sure
move
that's
that
going to,
we-
I'm not sure that's going to be the board clerk wages, since I put it at 2.5, but they voted a 3, so that might change a little bit.
Okay.
Well, you're going to have money left over because we have a vacancy right now anyway.
Well, this is next year's budget, though.
Oh, right, right,
Hopefully we'll
sorry.
have filled it.
Okay,
And we reposted that job, by the way.
good, thank you.
It's been reposted, so we're waiting. You got some responses already, didn't you? No, not yet.
Okay.
We're hoping.
Okay.
I move that we approve the budget as proposed, FY '26 budget as proposed.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, no topics not reasonably anticipated. Reappointments.
Oh,
I was looking here, B, are you supposed to be on the emergency?
She may not be up.
She might not be, you're not up yet?
not my turn? Oh,
Are your turn on there? Okay,
all right.
okay.
I move that we, do you want to just read them out, or, and we'll,
Oh,
We'll
are
read
you
'em.
talking about the first one?
yeah,
B
Oh.
is, she's appointed by the reorganization of the select board.
that's right.
That's a
Oh, we do it
select,
in May, we-
that's
we
a
did-
select board appointment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Oh, I move that we reappoint the Emergency Services Facility Committee members, Dan Campbell, Victoria Lookshaw from the Planning Board, Oleg Kobylishiansky from Police, Barry Bordner, and Steve Sarandinsky. Term expires December 31st, 2027.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we appoint Lindsay McCarthy to the Historical Commission, term expiring December 31st, 2027.
Second,
We're moving her from the, we're moving her from the associate to the
Yeah.
full.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I move that we appoint the police officers, John Cowan, Benjamin Welcome, from Gill, Jason Bassett, Derek Warden, Chris Redmond, from Irving, Brandon Bryant, Laura Gordon, Robert Holst, Adam Pykos, Mitchell Waldron, from Bernardston, Thomas Shabbat, James Palmieri, John Richardson. Wait a minute, he moved to Gill.
You're still a Bernardston police officer.
Bernardston PD.
Oh, okay. And Jordan Zukowski. And from Leverett, Nicholas Feld, Steve Gould, Scott Minkler,
Angelica,
Angelia?
Yeah, I think it's missing a C.
Angalia
Oh,
Rodriguez,
maybe not.
Christian Santiago. Terms expiring December 31st, 2025.
Second. Okay, yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we reappoint EMS members, Mariah Anthony, Marissa Atkins, Gabrielle Benz, Ryan Betters, Brandon Brault, Brian Dew, Timothy Drumgoole, Sean Garland, Martin Given, Talia Hicks, Cameron Kennedy, William Kimball, Jeremy Klopadlo, Emily Mills, Corey Sutton, Carolyn Warger-Zernick, and Philip Wonka. Terms
Second.
expires December 31st, 2025.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we reappoint Christine Harris to the Council on Aging. Term expires December 31st, 2027.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And recognition for, oh, that's you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you read them off. Recognition for service, Andrew Vernon, Energy Committee, Jim Wickham, Council on Aging, Mary King, Historical Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your service, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've worked with all of them.
Anything else? I guess we have an executive session?
Yep, very short, but,
Very short?
okay.
Okay, we're gonna go to executive session. Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 6, Emergency Services, Location, Real Estate, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. After this, we will not return to live session.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Bernie, yes.
Me, yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're done.
We're done.